appears that West Ham have made an approach for James Tarkowski, which should come as a surprise to absolutely nobody. Just a brief recap of where we are and the history of this, just in case you don't know. I'm sure you do, but he has got 6 months left on his contract. His contract runs out in the summer. That means a couple of things. It means he can leave for free and join any club in the world in the summer, but it also means a couple of things. It means that he can sign a pre-contract agreement with a foreign club right now, which means he can basically get it done now. What he can't do is sign a pre-contract agreement. Jesse Lingard's in this same situation, by the way. He can't sign a pre-contract agreement with a Premier League club, but he can leave for anywhere he wants in the summer. Now, we've held a long-standing interest in James Tarkowski. We tried to buy him. I think the story went with 27 million, they said no. 28, they said no. 29, they said no. 30, they just said, look, just give up. They wanted 40 million. This is not very long ago at all. So this is somebody who, a season and a half ago, we'd valued at just under 30 million. David Moyes had seen him as pivotal, as crucial to his plan of what he wanted to do. I was not that sure at the time, not because of the player's ability, but because of his age. So he's 29 now. And I think, you know, had we have signed him a year and a half ago, we'd have paid £30 million for a player who's 29 now. His age stays the same, by the way, regardless of when you bought him. I don't think that would be great business. There's no return on that. However, on a free transfer, it's great business. However, there's a middle ground. And that middle ground, of course, is that Burnley possibly don't want to lose out and get no fee for him. So are Burnley going to cash in now? Now, apparently we've bid £8.5 million. I think that's good. Now, he's not going to come in and be on 200 grand a week or anything like that. I think the deal makes sense. He plays on the left side of defence, which is something that appeals to David Moyes, and we know because we've lost Angelo Ogbonna. I say till the end of the season, realistically, we don't know if he'll ever come back the same. We might well find ourselves with a Winston Reid situation on our hands with Ogbonna. We just don't know. I think it would be sensible, particularly given our current situation of trying to get into Europe again via the league this season, and also bearing in mind we're in knockout stages of the Europos Cupos. I think it would make absolute sense for us to get that deal over the line now. If it means, I mean, it's only got to mean an extra couple of places in the Premier League or an extra round in Europe, and realistically, you're claiming a lot of that £8.5 million back anyway, and you're getting him in early. Now, the real issue here is, will Burnley want to do business? We're back into the Jesse Lingard situation, which I discussed yesterday, which is it really any advantage for Man United to take that money if Man United finish above them? Now, whilst we're not contesting league places with Burnley, Burnley have got a hell of a battle on their hands. It's quite tight down at the bottom. He's kept them up on a shoestring budget for a long time, Sean Dyche, and I've got a certain amount of sympathy with him. It looks as though Newcastle United's cancelled games are really going to help them out, because by the time they actually end up playing them, looks like they'll have spent quite a lot of money and have 2 or 3 new players in. So they're going to be a hell of an advantage. They've got an advantage over Burnley on that. I would understand Dyche for wanting to keep Tarkowski. That being said, I also understand the club's standpoint of wanting to sell him. Again, I've got a bit of sympathy for Dyche. It wasn't that long ago that Burnley got taken over, and I think a lot of people were feeling that the purse strings might be lifted. He'd done his apprenticeship, Dyche, done it at Watford, obviously done it at Burnley, deserved to spend a bit of money. It looks like they're sort of just as tight and just as stingy as the mob that were there before. So it may well have nothing to do with Dyche. Dyche may not have a say in it. This may just be the business people at the club saying, well, sorry, Sean, you don't get a say in this. That's an asset there. We're basically either going to take £8.5 million or nothing. We'll take the £8.5 million. As I understand it, the player wants to come to West Ham. David Moyes certainly wants him. And this is a really clever way of us bolstering our squad with a quality player that had played for England and still has a desire to play for England, by the way, in a problem position. I mean, it's Moyes' dream defence. It's Moyes' dream defence. Kurt Zouma and James Tarkowski, the left and the right-sided centre-halves. I mean, he's a good defender, no nonsense defender, and he certainly passes the Moyes MOT test in terms of character, in terms of commitment, in terms of application. He is a real fighter, he's a real battler, and we've discussed it a few times about loving defending. This guy loves defending. He's up for the battle. He loves the confrontation. He loves the one-on-one duels. How many times have we discussed Masuaku? Yes, I know we're discussing a left back and then a centre back, but how many times have we looked at Masuaku and think he's not really interested in the duel? He's not interested in that, coming out with that sort of one-up and battling with the person he's marking all game. He would see it as a personal. He would see it as not offensive. He should take personal offence if someone skins him. Masuaku doesn't. Tarkowski's not like that. Tarkowski is actually like Dawson. Tarkowski is like Sufal, who just want to win all their individual duels, who will do anything to stop their marker getting the better of them, and that appeals massively to David Moyes. He's also not bad at carrying the ball out from the back, which I think would help us massively. Brings balance to the force or the defence in this instance by giving us a left central defender and a right central defender, which would again and also words. Well, it's just more ammunition to our set play routines. Now the suggestion is, and here's where the Newcastle thing comes into play. The suggestion is that Newcastle might be interested in Diop, and I just feel that would be a double whammy for Burnley. It really would. It really would, because I think that would give Newcastle a good defender in Diop, whilst Burnley are weakened in their defence. As I say, whether Dyche has got any say in this, I just don't know. I hope for his sake, and I hope for Burnley's sake. I like seeing clubs like Burnley in the Premier League. We all like the plucky underdog, don't we? So I hope if we do buy him, it gets given the funds to reinvest, and he can bring somebody in. But anyway, that's my consideration towards Burnley. What is more important is West Ham. And if this is what we're going to do in this window, I've got no problem with that at all. But I probably would be looking at the Newcastle situation, the Diop situation. And if I were Burnley, I don't know how Diop would feel about this, by the way. If I were Burnley, I might be saying, well, look, you can have Tarkowski with 70 for $8.5 million, but can you loan us him until the end of the season? Which might do everybody a favour. It would certainly do. It would do us a favour because, let's be fair, as I said, Diop's the fourth choice centre half. It's always when the centre halves are out, the first backup centre half is Dawson. I think it would help us out, it would help Diop out, and also it would stop him going to Newcastle, which would put a bit of a spanner in the works in terms of Newcastle, which in turn would help, I know it's tenuous, would help Burnley, who they would feel that, yes, they've lost a player, but they've not sort of lost a central defender from their team and not strengthening somebody, let's be fair, who are going to be rivals for relegation places, unless Newcastle go on some ridiculous run of form between now and the end of the season. They might just do. Of course, they've brought in Kieran Trippier, haven't they? I do love the Trippier one. He was apparently joining Newcastle not for the money. He was joining Newcastle because of the dream of playing for Newcastle. Funny that, because I didn't hear Kieran Trippier discuss playing for Newcastle at any other point during his career. Granted, I don't listen to Kieran Trippier's interviews at all, but it's not just Newcastle. I often say it when a lot of foreign players come over and say, "Oh, I've always dreamed of playing for West Ham." No, you haven't. No, you haven't. That's why I like what Fornell's always says, which is, I've grown to really love West Ham. I think if I was a kid growing up in Dagenham, I would have supported them from when I was a kid. Yes, that makes sense. That's the truth. Anyway, so clearly, look, he's gone there for the money, and I like it. He's gone there for the long-term project. I don't think Kieran Trippier is going to be around for the long-term project. The Kieran Trippier signing, it's a bit Wayne Bridge, isn't it? If you remember when Chelsea signed Wayne Bridge was only ever signed because they couldn't get Ashley Cole straight away. They got Ashley Cole. I said, yep, bye Wayne, off you go. And I think Newcastle, if they've got as much money as we all think they do, will probably doing something similar. Anyway, there you go. I think if this all goes how I would like it to go, how I think it might go, how David Moyes would like it to go, not so much Burnley, then we may well find that come the start of February, David Moyes is actually, in a Premier League match, able to field his dream first-choice centre-back pairing.